Hi, so now we are at the third Business Rule Engine session where we play the role of the Business Rule Expert. The Business Rule Expert logs into the Business Rule Administration menu using a standard browser. What does he see? Okay. On the left he can see a menu which contains two different items. The first one is a list of metadata tables where he can change the messages that are sent through the XML as anomalies. As we remember, if we just add the .NET application on the right, we remember that since the candidate is too young, a message is sent back, so the illegal birthday is kind of a text, the metadata that the Business Rule Expert can change depending on its need. Another thing is the institute code. There is code number 10. If we go here, a validation is done against the institute code here, the 20 against the 20. There is also a list of subject that is part of the application, so a verification is done through this subject list as well. Another important thing is the certification type. Since the role of the Business Rule Analyst is being performed using two mechanisms. One, as I said, is the metadata, and the other one are the rules themselves. If we log in again and we show that the candidate is filling in certification number 10, then, and also the list of subjects and units and grade for each subject, the validation is done through taking this number 10 here, a certification code number 10, and everything should correspond to the information that was preliminarily defined by the Business Rule Expert, that checks that all the subjects that are part of that certification code number 10 really complies with what this student or this candidate has filled in. For example, English 2 units, English 2 units, and the minimum grade should be 55, and he has 17, so everything is okay. So if we take some kind of anomalies, for example in the case of Hebrew, as we remember, Hebrew you need to get 55 and he got in Hebrew only 50. That's why he got anomalies. So this kind of filling in information is part of the metadata under responsibility of the Business Rule Expert. Another mechanism which goes along with that metadata is the mechanism of the rule themselves. We'll go back to the data that the candidate has filled in. One part of the data is the computation code, which is generated automatically in the .NET application. So for that kind of certification code number 10, the computation that needs to be performed is 1000. If we go back to the role of the Business Rule Expert, that means that the computation code 1000 will execute sequentially, one after the other, a set of business rules. The first rule is loading the information from the metadata, and then step by step a validation is going to be performed according to the Business Rule specification to verify that the certificate is properly defined. If we go and look at the check birthday, then a rule should be executed a moment that a certification number 10 with a computation rule 1000 is being pushed in through the XML. Now, another level of flexibility is being achieved using dates, meaning not only that there is a validation against a metadata, there is also a rule that verifies the data itself. There is also a possibility to set that from a date to a date a certain validation is being performed, and from another date another validation is being performed. if we go and look at the information here, the certification date is only 25 of November 2010. In that case, when doing a validation for a birthday, not that rule 240200 will be executed. Instead, the 240202 is being executed. If we go and look at that and zoom in, we'll see that in that certain case, the check of the age will be performed less than 17. Whether in the other case, if it's an older certification graduation date, then the validation is being performed for check age less than 17, less than 18. That means that the business rule expert is able not only to decide upon the order of execution of certain rules, he can also has another level of flexibility to decide that for a certain rule, depending on the dates of that rule, a certain validation is being performed. Now, this is the point where the business rule analyst passes the information to the developer. The developer needs to define the rule themselves. Okay, so the expert decide upon the order for execution of the rules, what those rules need to do, but the technical way of putting the rules is part of the responsibility of the developer, eMerge developer itself. So this part, the session number 2 ends, and we'll go to the last session where we decide and we show how a developer is doing his job.